Hello, Grizz family. Welcome to the Grizz 901 postgame show. We really need to thank you for being here tonight because that was pretty brutal. That was not fun. We're going to go over the game tonight. Daniel has abandoned us in our time of need, which is how it goes. But even after a brutal showing, we make sure we give you a Grizz 901 postgame show. And as King Meek says, hit the like button. We're still here. It's maybe the least you can do. So come on in. And you know what? I woke up this morning. I overslept all my alarms. I get into work. 2 of my meetings, no show. I go to work out. I figure out I have some kind of nerve thing in my neck. I can't do this without hurting. I DoorDash some Taco Bell. They don't send me any fire sauce, and they forget my Cinnabons. I lost my chapstick, and you know what? The Grizzlies just followed up that game with how it has gone the rest of the day. Absolutely brutal showing from the Grizzlies as they lose by 25 to the Brooklyn Nets. I almost said the New Jersey Nets because that's how bad that was. I wanted to go back to the past when basketball was fun. But the Grizzlies lose. It's okay. It's, I guess, helping the draft odds, we can say. But as things go, pretty tough night for the Grizzlies. Tough night all around for most of the players. There were a couple of silver linings. There were some things that I will surprisingly talk positive about tonight. But for the most part, a forgettable evening. We don't really want to keep going. But I'm here, your host, Nate, for at least a little bit. Daniel will be joining in at some point whenever he gets back from his men's league game, which I'm sure was most likely more thrilling than what we just watched. But he'll be joining the show whenever he decides to quit being lazy and hop in. For now, you've got just me. And I like to see everybody in here. Heaven's Healthy says, gross. Daniel says, you are the problem. And quite frankly, I have to be because Daniel's no showing. Ben Simmons played basketball, which, to be honest, I think we all kind of forgot he even played basketball. And as Ryan says, I'm just here for the Laravia talk. There will be Laravia talk, and I don't think it's going to go how Ryan thinks it's going to go tonight. And the last one we're going to pull up before we hop into the game, Austin Moore blooper reel. It really was. I don't know if anybody else here has League Pass. If you do, then I'm going to be completely honest. I'm sorry. League Pass is pretty tough. Dare I say worse than the Bally Sports app? I'm not sure I can actually say that, but I have League Pass, and if you don't have anything, know nothing else about League Pass, you need to watch the in-arena broadcast because you get to watch the halftime show. And sometimes the halftime show is the most entertaining part of the game. Tonight it was. I think the total point tally was 8 points in the halftime show. There were more air balls than there were points, and it was very indicative of the Grizzlies' offense tonight. I thought it fit really well. All the kids are wearing Grizzlies jerseys, and it fit. Truly, though, we're going to get into the game. It was sort of just one of those nights. Jaren had an absolutely brutal game. Could not do anything right. I mean, Nick Claxton, hell of an audition from Nick Claxton because he made Jaren look horrible tonight. And Jaren didn't have it regardless of who was on the court, but Claxton shut him down pretty well in that first half. But as Goon's saying, Jaren is why we lost. Shout out to Goon. Tonight, I have no argument for you. I'm not going to say Jaren is why we lost because I think most of the team is why we lost tonight. But I'm going to save some things for when Daniel gets in here. But let's go ahead and let's talk about the good things tonight, which is Lamar Stevens should be a Memphis Grizzly. Now, we'll get into more of this with Daniel because I love to hear his takes, mainly because it makes me look good whenever he goes in on some kind of take. But Lamar Stevens has gotten to the point where he fits. He's the kind of guy you want on your team because you inject him and he just does something for you. Rebounding, scoring, you put him in the game. He gets to the mid-range. He's money from the mid-range. Seems to be knocking down his threes, can play defense. Awesome stuff. So I'd love to hear from the comments. Lamar, as D'Angelo says, is the only good thing. I think Lamar Stevens actually showed that he belongs on this team. So Lord knows there's a bunch of wings that we don't need playing when it gets to be serious basketball next year. So we'll see if we can get some more Lamar going as the season goes on. But just also be prepared. We're going to get a lot of minutes from guys we don't want to see minutes from. So I started to get pretty frustrated tonight. It was one of those, glad you could join us.
I'm
How'd
here.
the old man league go? How'd the old man league go?
Double overtime,
Loss?
sudden death, the second overtime. They give the ball to the hand buckets.
All right. Well, we might need to dig into that because that was much better than the game tonight.
All right,
We might
that's the only reason I'm late. Is the double overtime. I apologize.
we might get a little play-by-play from Daniel's game tonight, so we don't have to talk about this too much. But back to what I was talking about a second ago. Lamar Stevens, Fitz. Everybody else was terrible.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad. Yeah, I think as Parrish is saying, Grizz could have used you tonight. Anybody that could put the ball in the hoop. But real quick, Daniel, were you able to watch any of the game tonight?
Yeah, I saw the first half for sure, and so I saw that, and then I every time I went to the bench because we have 10 players on our basketball team. Why I don't know.
More than the Grizzlies.
Yeah. And so I had so when I came out, I literally kept the game going. Somebody's little kid was watching it, so I saw most of it, and the last part was nothing. So listen, at the end of the day, the Grizzlies didn't score. They shot bad, didn't score. That's really it. That's it.
Well,
who was our leading scorer tonight? Goon the
Lamar
shooter.
Stevens. It was Lamar Stevens.
I know he was 7-7 for a while. So,
well, and here's the part that you saw most of. Claxton made Jaron, little boy Jaron, all night tonight. It was bad. Now again, I was starting to get really frustrated with the team, and then I had to remind myself, I don't have to worry about this next year. And this is the team that we're here to watch. But whew, it was a rough night for Jaron. What do you go? 2 for 12 from the floor, 10 for 13 from the free throw line. He finally gets all the free throws he needs to get. Doesn't make enough of it. It was bad. But let me tell you the one thing I'm going to say. Yeah, like button if the game sucks. Seriously, we're all here. If you're here, just hit the like button. We all deserve it. We all
I still got my
positive tonight.
My old man legs on.
Our guy Ryan came into the chat and he said he was here for one thing and one thing only. And that was to discuss Jake LaRavia. And so, Daniel, here's what I have to say about Jake LaRavia. He was the most enjoyable to watch out of every wing the Grizzlies have drafted tonight. It's we say this all the time. We give credit where credit is due. And LaRavia gave the best energy tonight. He played the best defense tonight. And somehow he shot the best tonight. Out of all of the Grizzlies, again, drafted wings, obviously Lamar Stevens was the best wing for Memphis tonight, clearly. Yeah. But listen, you're not going to catch me saying that I want Jake LaRavia on this team next year. You're not going to catch me saying that I think Jake LaRavia is an NBA player. Quite frankly, I just don't believe it yet. At the end of the day, he is the one guy that actually seemed to show up tonight out of all those young Grizzlies wings. I don't really know what to say. But, hey, the Grizzlies protect their draft odds. I know Allen, team tank all the way. Allen's always been team tank. Great night for Allen. Horrible night for the rest of us. But good night for the Grizzlies draft odds. Bad night for the Grizzlies as a whole. So, I want to hear from you because I have lots of negative thoughts about the game. I don't think I should share them all. But I want to hear your negative thoughts from the game because I'd be surprised if you have too many positives.
Listen, when it comes to it, you don't have good players on your team right now. That glass half full, you just don't. Yuta Watanabe is not. He's just not. He's not a good NBA player. He might be great overseas, and I think that's really the direction that I think he needs to go. But I know I've joked about it because I just don't see it in Yuta, but I just don't see the NBA game, translating on the court. And so if you have players like that are giving you minutes, that's an issue, right? And that's not to single out Yuta, but then if you look at Jake, he's not an NBA player yet. That maybe he is a guy that can really develop. Maybe I'll give him that. He's still young. But you can't have guys playing minutes like Yuta and Jake and think you're going to be good. But the other fact is there's no dribble drive to the rim. If you saw it early in the game, Derrick Rose was dribble. He had a nice dribble drive to the rim, opened it up. Everything else was stagnant. And that's really what it comes down to is we don't have the shooting, one, to be able to do a 5-out, right? But you also, you don't have the athleticism to get by your guy. So if you can't shoot and you can't drive, you're going to score 86 points. That's just what it comes down to.
Well, and as Ant Guy's saying, we all are earning the loyal Grizz fan badge on nights like tonight. Yeah, man. I mean, there is nothing going. And quite frankly, Jaren had a lot of one-on-one opportunities tonight and did nothing with them. And if Jaren's not going to do anything with one-on-one,
right,
it's this team doesn't have enough of a threat to make anything else happen. Right? Just dribble drives and make them double Jaren. Neither one happened tonight. So let's not I did think they came out with some better energy to start the second half. I think it all died once that lead. They cut it down to I think 17, maybe 16 at some point in the third, and then the Nets knocked it right back up to 21, and that was it.
Yeah,
that was done. That was the end of all of that. And in general, I think you have guys like Gigi, who has been playing really well. Everyone loves him. It's going to be a good career for him. He went 1 for 13 tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, he airballed a couple of threes. One of them didn't look like it because it hit the other side of the backboard and didn't hit the rim. So, brutal night from Gigi. Matthew Hurt. Listen, we got to get Matthew Hurt more shots, quite frankly. Nobody can block his shot because he shoots it from behind his head like Larry Bird.
Except the guy behind him.
So we got to get him somebody. Yeah, somebody from the bench could maybe block it if he's in the corner. That's about it. Other than that, I mean, just brutal. Like Vince still didn't look like himself tonight. Vince looked like he might have just been hanging his head. I know he was bleeding a lot at some point, so I don't know what happened there. He may have actually messed something up, but I'm sure it's that multi-game. Santi had a couple of moments in the second half that I thought actually looked good. He'd also pass it behind his back out of bounds to a corner that was empty, which he seems to do once a game. But truly, when it comes down to it, the negatives were it's just one of those nights, in my opinion. Watching the game, I'm like, dog, you're going to have nights like tonight when you have this team. And the only thing you fault is, man, the energy sucked.
Yeah.
From all of them. And there's a bunch of guys playing for their NBA jobs, but frankly, when it comes to guys that you would say are playing for the NBA jobs, like Lamar Stevens and Jake LaRavia, they actually gave you energy tonight. So maybe that was what it was. But any positives tonight from you from what you watched in the first half?
Yeah, so I would say the positives for me is the fact that this game's over. That's it.
I know. I forgot you weren't going to be here, and then I was going to get with you in the beginning and just be like, let's make this a short one.
So listen, Lamar is the positive in this. He continues to look good. But what I will say is if you're looking for any positives in this, every one of these dudes is playing out of where they normally should be playing, right? Yeah. They're out of position. Their usage rate is way up. They should not be in the position they are, and they just are. Like a lot of times, these guys are brought on the team to fit into a certain spot. Luke Kennard, I promise you, I am not the biggest Luke Kennard fan. He is an excellent shooter, but he has to be a guy who can do nothing but pass the ball or spot up shooter when he is wide open. Yeah, he's a luxury item as well. If we want to go ahead and pin it as that, like Jaren should not have the ball in his hand this much. He should be the guy who's the screener. You grab somebody that is maybe a mouse in the house and you pin them on the block and then you take over, or you hit a walk-up three. That's what Jaren does. And he's having to dribble drive more, which honestly, it's better for him. This game like this is going to be better for these guys because it will show their deficiencies. In the offseason, games like this will be what they always go back to in their mind and say, this was a game that I really got exposed. And you're going to see this as well as with Vince Williams. What's he not doing lately? Probably the last, I think, 5 games. He's not doing what he was doing. Can you think of it?
Defending the team's best player?
Nope. Knocking down 3-pointers.
Well, he's not defending the team's best player either.
Well, he was on Mikal Bridges, though, right? I'm sorry. He went to Cam Thomas. Yeah, because Zaire has the more length. Zaire can't stay in front of Cam Thomas. So that's the reason.
That's probably true.
Yeah. But either way, listen, it was ugly to watch. And that's probably the worst part of this. But like in the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, and I don't want to be like completely glass half full. I just know that it was disgusting, but I promise you, there's no way that I'm going to worry about this game. And I believe somebody just said burn the tapes. Where was that? Somebody said burn them.
And listen, we got our best friend Chuck hopping in here, trying to get me riled up, talking about how Walker Kessler could do all of those things. Tonight's not the night. I've already praised old Jake LaRavia tonight, not because he played good basketball, but because he played good effort basketball. Which is a night like tonight, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's all you can ask for because everything else was so horrible. But I do think there's really not much to talk about from this game, other than the Nets are also
they're not that good.
they're bad. Yeah. Shout out to them trying to kind of build around Mikal Bridges. That's going to go really well for them if that's their best player. But from the Grizzlies, Jaren did have some really bad IQ moments tonight. It was rough. I mean, Jaren also, I think, has gotten to a point where I guess we can hit on this real quick. He gets frustrated, sort of rightfully so, and then he forces it. Now, he has to not get frustrated. Yeah. That like you are the clear best player, the only one that really should be playing any extended minutes for this team as far as it goes right now. You've got to be able to kind of keep your head about you. And to be honest, I think he's gotten a lot better about that. I mean,
100%.
I'd get frustrated too, like playing this kind of basketball. But he does have some low IQ moments. But quite frankly, anybody that was playing with this current roster would get pretty frustrated and have some low IQ moments. So I'm just not worried about it. And I think you hit the nail on the head. All of these guys will look so much better with an actual team around them. Yeah, so much better, and the roles are actually meant to be in. And it's all the guys who have looked really good. Gigi has really shined with some extra minutes, right? Or minutes he shouldn't really be having at all. They shut out on TNT. He's had some really good games, looked really promising. All that's great. He will look better when he doesn't have to be a go-to guy in moments. Vince will look better. Jaren will look better. It's why I'm not out on Santi. As frustrated as I've been with the way he's played, he's going to look better when you get guys like Ja Morant and Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart back. So
these guys need a break, but unfortunately, the only break now is Cancun.
Yeah. So, listen, I think it'll be okay. I think they'll turn around and they'll play the Timberwolves. They'll come out playing harder than they played tonight. Is that going to go better? I don't know. The Timberwolves team has a lot more talent than that Nets team has. So, we'll see. But there's a handful of guys like Yuta, Jake.
Right.
I would throw like a Zaire probably in there that probably aren't going to look great no matter what.
Yeah.
All these other guys, you just got to be patient. Like it's just not what it's going to be. And like D'Angelo's saying here, they're all connectors. All of them are role guys, and they're being forced to be the guys. So
we'll see. Real quick before we get into our first break, let's hear from Taylor Jenkins about the night. No clue, have not heard this, so let's hear it all together. It's about 2 minutes long.
Day at a time, you got to live in the moment. That's the biggest focus. And, I also challenged him. I said, hey, we obviously got hit, pretty hard there that first half, first quarter especially. And it's just how we just got to find the connectedness and togetherness. We're trying, but we're kind of in search mode all night tonight. Just didn't have anything clicking on the offensive side. And then obviously, they were playing great. They benefited on, our kind of not great offense. And they had a great first half, and we battled, won the third quarter, but, that hole was too big.
Just the last couple of days leading into this game, what was that like for the team? Like, since you didn't have, practices, what did they do work-wise? And do you think there was any carryover effect?
Taco Bell.
you had to practice on Thursday, but you didn't practice over the weekend.
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff in small groups. They got individual work on Sunday. Everyone worked 4 days in a row. We had practice on Thursday. It was great practice. We had great effort, came up a little short against the Clippers, came in, just kind of read, how the guys are coming out of the game. And we purposely did like combo vitamins so the guys could like really work together, work on the communication, details, positional stuff, just stuff that's creeping up, giving them the floor to really talk about some stuff. And I thought those were great sessions. We had a great film session as well. And then we wanted to just be smart, and give these guys, individual time because they haven't had it in a long time with a break. And, had a good shoot around this morning. Just didn't have one tonight.
Taylor, for you, in the back, what's the most disappointing part about tonight for you? Was there any sort of lack of competitiveness or energy, or was it mental mistakes? How do you diagnose it?
Yeah, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to come out of this game and be like, I'm disappointed. It's just like, man, give the Nets credit. We're all just going to need to be better on Wednesday. As simple as that. I don't think it was for a lack of trying. I mean, there's definitely moments where, there's some, tough possessions. You're like, well, we got to be better in that situation. We just couldn't get going offensively. A lot of guys, we're trying to make the plays, try to move the ball. Our turnovers hurt us. We're missing layups, open threes. That stuff's going to happen. Luckily it hasn't been the case in a while. So this is just one of those nights that just got to learn from it. Take the result and just move forward.
All right. That is
first things first. Desert Squirrel brought up exactly what I was thinking, which is what the hell is combo vitamins? Is that what he said? That's what he said, right?
I don't think so.
All right, somebody, if it wasn't combo vitamins, somebody let us know what he said. Because I swear to God, he said combo vitamins. And I was like, so the nutrition was great. So why'd they suck? I was like, I don't know what he said. I don't. Desert Squirrel won with the Letterkenny profile picture, which if you haven't seen Letterkenny, just like you need to have my sense of humor.
What is it? I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Letterkenny is?
No.
Oh, dude.
Letter
it is
as
a Canadian, almost like skit show. It is all short form. It's on, I think, Hulu now. Me and you get along, so I know you will love it. It is hilarious.
All right, letter as in like a letter,
yes,
like
letter, and then Kenny as in brother Kenneth. Letterkenny, one word.
Oh, Letterkenny is one word.
Okay. Letterkenny is one word. Fantastic show. But shout out for the profile picture for it's one of the hockey players from Letterkenny. But yeah, I swear he said combo vitamins, and I have no idea what that is. Yeah, there we go.
Hulu, okay.
It is on Hulu. Perfect. Dude, I'm telling you, it's incredible. It has 0 brain power value, which is why it's so good. Amazing show. But anyways, yeah, I think Taylor did say it best, just one of those nights. And dude, he was trying everything tonight.
Yeah.
And as mad as I can get about why are we playing Jay Laravia and X person? Why are we playing Zaire Williams and X person? It's dude, tonight it's what are you gonna do? Throw Jaren out there so he can get blocked by Nick Claxton again? Right. It's just one of those nights where there's nothing Taylor could do tonight. So yeah. Anyways, shout out to Brock Belcher, new fan, saying dude on the right's a 9.5 out of 10. Appreciate you.
All right, so real quick, let's get to you say the name. I think you said it right one time.
At the Jeff P.
At the Jeff P. That's right. Yeah.
_ 68, but.
So listen, all right, let me hit on this real quick. I'm going to give you a negative and a positive, right? So the negative on this is I get it, and I understand that maybe they, exactly they're not playing GG as much as you would like. I understand that, and you know what? Sometimes I wish they did play him more. But what I will say is you sometimes have to set these young guys up properly. So if you were to potentially play him all these minutes, it might expose him a little bit more and not keep him in his certain rhythm. That's probably his thinking, honestly. This is his first year. He just shot 1 of 13.
Dude, he was bad.
Yeah.
No. Yes, there's times where you want to set these young guys up good, but I'm just going to stop you because you're being too nice. He was bad tonight.
No, I agree. I'm saying the reason you don't maybe play him. And I'm talking about not tonight. I'm talking about overall every night.
Okay.
If he doesn't have it, if he's not en fuego, he has to just continue. He is not good enough yet. He is roller coaster GG. I promise you. You're going to have these lowest of lows. You're going to have the highest of highs. The problem is you got to ride him when he's hot and you got to go away from him when he's cold. And that's what you're going to have. But also the other guys, why they're playing Jake, why they're playing, probably Yuta or Lamar Stevens, all these guys. You want them to play them as much as possible now, as much as they can get on the court. Worst case, the Grizzlies lose. Best case, we find another guy that's good. Because right now, Yuta should never see a minute on the NBA floor. Jake LaRavia should never see a minute on the NBA floor. Lamar Stevens, he's possibly working himself the right way. So you want these guys playing this season because I swear if any one of those dudes play next year, I will be pissed. I don't care about this year. So that's why. We'll see. I'm excited about what's all happening. Tonight did suck. So I'm torn, very torn.
Well, again, tonight's like there's going to be some times where Gigi's hot, Gigi's cold. And like even I was like, man, I know he wasn't good in his minutes, but like everybody else sucks. Put him back in tonight. Yep. And then Taylor did, and it was awful. And I was like, okay, you can get him back out now. Like that's how that goes on some nights. So like that is what it is. And you have to play all these other guys. Yep. Like
for sure.
Because the season is lost. And so you're just seeing what you can possibly pull out of these guys at this point.
Yep.
And it may be nothing, but you lose nothing by seeing what you can get.
Yep.
Right. And so once you get guys like Bane and Smart and Brandon Clark back into the fold, assuming they'll be back, and I'm sure it'll only be for probably even less than 20 games actually this year when they get back. You'll see them try and play some winning basketball. That will happen. And it might be some minutes restrictions, stuff like that. But trust me, they're going to be trying to win those games. But right now, like you are seeing what you have until that moment comes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get to our first break. Before we do, I do have something special to share before we get there. We're going to hit on Grizz trivia, but we have a special guest for next show. He's going to be joining us, I believe, from the start. If not, he will be here at some point throughout the better part of the show. Going to come in for about a 20-minute guest spot. You're going to have all the chance to ask the questions. And you know this guy. You love this guy. He's crazy. He's John Roser. And so we're going to have Roser come on here. It should be a lot of fun. Listen, I want you all to ask all the questions because I have questions that I can ask. And honestly, right, he's not like A+ level celebrity, but it's okay. I like him a lot. I've never actually met him. I've never spoke with him, but I think it'd be a lot of fun to have guys on here to ask questions. And so, it'd be a good time. So make sure you tune in next game, especially, coming off that Timberwolves game. It might not look any better, but we'll be here for sure to make sure we have some good fun with Roser. So I can't wait.
Like he's not like an A-list celebrity. It's like, dog, everyone's celebrity compared to what are we talking about?
No. I know.
Well, it's gonna be. I'm super excited. I've listened to him for years, and like I'm super excited to have him on the show. So it'd be a lot of fun, and it's people I actually know, which is great
for sure. Yeah, he'll be on here, and then we should have Devin Walker on here at some point. I'm looking to get Kelsey Wright Johnson as well, and then I do have. Two other people that I plan on bringing on at some point as the season comes down. We want to make it as much fun for you guys as possible and ladies, because I do think it should be a good time. But plus, you get to ask the randomest questions or the Grizzlies questions that you might want to hear that maybe you haven't heard them. And because of their show, you don't either watch it or, you just might want to have a question. So please bring some trading card questions, some Zaire questions, some yoga questions. All those questions are great if you have those, because I have some of those in my back pocket that I'll say that somebody sent me. All right, let's go ahead and get into our first break. After this, we'll be right back here. We'll be bringing in some Grizz trivia. It is Jaren related, so stay tuned, Goon.
Yeah. Vince Williams is the closest thing we've seen to Tony Allen.
100%.
Tony Allen. I think that has been really thrown around very loosely in a kind of just joking manner for a lot of people, because everybody for the love that we have for TA, such a big factor in this franchise. we throw that thing around. We throw that the grandson thing around lightly because it's just kind of funny on Twitter. But he is the closest thing to Tony Allen that has been so far in a Memphis uniform, and I think that's very. I mean, D'Anthony Melton might have been the other, but to your point, and that's what made me think about this is that the fearlessness that he plays with. That's what Tony Allen played with. He did not care who you were. He doesn't see a name on that.
Tune in to The Daily Grind with Mark King and Luke Hatmaker at 1 p.m. every Monday through Friday live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
I can't lie, dog. That was depressing. Like, as much as like we're gonna come in here, we're gonna find some positives and we're gonna make it good. Like in the middle of that game, I like put the hood over my head and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was like just delete. But you know what always cheers me up when I'm down? Some really nice flowers, possibly from Pews. You know Pews. From flower shops to commercial landscape maintenance, Pews has been around for 30 plus years servicing the Mid-South. But did you know that Pews also does residential lawn care, which also cheers me up? No one likes dead grass. Pews Residential Spray can take care of all your weed control and fertilization needs. If you want to create that perfect weed-free lawn, then call Pews Residential Spray today for a free estimate. 901-633-2118 and let them know that the Grizz 901 crew sent you. And remember, with Pews, you get big company strength, small company values. King of the transition.
I love it. Shout out to D'Angelo. I have PayPal as well, and so if you would go ahead and hit me up over on wherever. I don't want to not give you the money. I was just hoping that you'd have Venmo, but listen, I have PayPal as well, and so if you would hit me up on at Grizz 101 Live, or you can hit me up on at Daniel Greer, or you can put in your PayPal in here, whatever's easiest. But go ahead and send that to me now. I'm not going to let you go without the money, man.
Yeah, man. We can figure this out.
We're getting the money for sure.
Meet up at Silky's.
I like it. All right, you know what's next, Nate? It always takes so long.
Honestly, like, it's not going to make anything worse. It can't get worse tonight.
All right, here we go. Grizz trivia, Nate. Listen, you've been kind of cold lately. I think my questions have been pretty hard, though. As we're getting throughout the season, they are getting much harder. Tonight, it's all about Jaren Jackson Jr. in honor of our guy, Goon, the shooter. Jaren Jackson Jr. has led Memphis with 29 points in the game against the Clippers, right? This game tonight, not so much. So he had a good game against them, a string of good games he's had lately. Tonight had a stinker, but Jaren has set a career high in 25-plus point games this season. His previous high was last year. So how many total games has Jaren scored 25 or more points? Would you like to first guess last year how many times he scored 25-plus points? It'll narrow down your answer, I hope.
Yeah. I would say last year he scored 25-plus 6 times.
6?
I think that was high, but I was like, surely I'm just down on it. My first instinct was 4, and I was like, I'm gonna say 6. I'm gonna say there's a couple in there I don't know about.
All right, let's go back to last year. Let's see how many games he's played, because I think you're lowballing him by a good amount.
Okay,
all right, so he played 63 games, started 63 games, 28.4 minutes. He averaged 18.6 points per game. So do you want to take another run at it? So 55, Alex.
Did we say 20 plus or 25 plus?
25 plus. That 25 plus is the big number.
I mean, I thought 6 was maybe going high. He scores 20 a lot. He does not score 25 a lot. So I'll say 13. I mean, that is crazy high from what I would be guessing. I'm not kidding.
In last season, the 22-23 season, Jaren Jackson Jr. scored 25-plus points in 13 games.
13 games. Okay. That is literally double what I thought it would be. So that's okay. So he did it 13 times, and he has done it.
And this year he has played, let me just give it to you. He's played 52 games, 31.8 minutes. He's averaging 22.4 points.
Okay, so 50.
So he's above 13, I'll tell you that, because he's broken the record.
Okay, thank you.
Personal record.
I'm going to say he has scored 25 plus. How many games they played again? 52?
52. Yeah, he has played in 52 games.
I'm going to say he has done it 19 times.
Wow, you're very close.
Is it 18?
It's not the entire career, Alan. I apologize. It is 20. You're
20.
very close.
Dang.
Yes, it's not for his entire career. It's actually for just this season. And so Jaren Jackson Jr. has played very well. And obviously tonight sucked, right? Because he did not play well. I had this question. I wasn't going to have time to get another one. But he has scored 13 25-point games last season. And so obviously this season he's had many more, but 20 already in the year. I imagine he scores 25 plus at least another 8 times, I would say, throughout the season. You're talking about, 5. So you think he ends with 25 plus point games?
I would actually say 24. He scores 20 a lot. He doesn't hit 25 a lot, in my opinion. So
it's a big number.
3 and 22 with him being a leading scorer. Probably. Honestly, the fact we won 3 games over the past couple months is nice.
Yeah. Well, listen, he has played well lately, and I know that there has been some talk on Twitter as of late, on X, that I am not getting involved in anymore. But it's about Dylan Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. Goon, please stay out of it. We want to not say bad things about Jaren. We like Jaren here. I think
Wait,
Jaren
is there a bunch
really
of negative
good
stuff about Jaren going around again? Because
that's
a new fad again.
Because Dylan Brooks has not played very well, and the Houston is now saying we don't like him anymore. The Houston fans, which we saw coming, we know how it is.
Yeah, of course. What does that have to do with Jaren?
They're saying, comparing, Dylan Brooks is shooting better than Jaren, and I think taking the same amount of shots, but I don't think that's actually true. So anyway, there's been some comparisons. It's the dumbest thing. Don't get involved.
I actually saw one of these.
Do not get involved.
Sure I know who did that.
Yeah. So
just needless to say, I ignored it.
But that's all our kind of be as open as possible. But Nick Claxton, impressed with him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you can help me. He owned our guy, so you can't help but be impressed. He could be a future Grizzly. You could do a whole lot worse. I'm gonna be honest. There's something about him. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm like, it makes me hesitant. I don't know what it is, because he fits everything. He's long. He's defending the rim well. Can rebound well. I don't know. What is it? What is it that's like about Claxton that I can't put my finger on that makes me hesitant? Is there anything? Or have I just not watched the Nets enough? It's because he's on the Nets and they lose all the time.
Listen, I will say that I think Claxton's good. Let's see how big he is. He's 6'11".
He is big.
6'11", 215. Let me just share the reason that you might have hesitation. I have hesitation as well, because I don't know if he is the best fit for this team. I think he is a lot like Jaren, other than he can't shoot the three-pointer. He can't stretch the floor. But the other thing he doesn't do a very good job of is rebounding. Tonight, he had 21 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds. I just don't think he's that dominant rebounder.
I think that's probably right, because I think he fits the prototype really well. He's super long, big dude. I think he can rim run really well, which fits with this team. I agree. I think you're right. He doesn't rebound super well, which they need rebounding.
Yeah.
I see the chat is already on the
hardest
track I'm on.
Yeah.
Love Hartenstein, dude.
Yeah.
And it's because he's not going to be a rim runner like Claxton. I don't think he's going to be as good of a defender as Claxton, but I think he'll just hold it down. You don't need an elite defender. It's like Steven Adams. He's underrated defender, but he wasn't just an absolutely elite defender, but he held it down. He did his role perfectly.
Yeah.
Right. Which made him elite on this team. But yeah, you get a guy that just plays a role really well, which is hold it down in the paint and rebound, clean it up. I think Hartenstein fits better. We'll see what happens with him in New York, though. I'm still not positive of what they're going to do with him in New York.
He's souring. Not souring. Souring is a bad word. He is not.
He's on a minutes restriction right now for some reason. Isn't he?
And that I don't understand why.
Well, did he get hurt?
No, I have no idea because I was betting
saw
on him.
Today a report that he was on a restriction.
Yeah, I was betting on him pretty heavily for a while because he was. Listen, when I bet, it's usually consistency in matchups is what I kind of look for. But he has just kind of been a guy who has been very consistent. Tonight he had 27 minutes, 6 points, 8 rebounds. He's a better screener than Claxton, in my opinion. He's not as good of a defender, not as good of a rim runner, but I think he fits the style of the Grizzlies. Plus, he's a lot cheaper. Yeah. And I think that's really what it comes down to me. If you can get Claxton on the same deal as Hartenstein, I like Claxton better.
Right.
But unfortunately, I think Claxton's going to garner a lot more money. And at the end of the day, I don't want to pay a lot for a center right now. Not if you have Jaren, who is the ideal 5, even though he doesn't play like it. I need somebody to come in and be a good piece during the middle of the game because I don't want to close with that 5. I want to close with Jaren at the 5 potentially, and then I don't want to spend $15 million on a guy who I can't close with. That's just the truth. Same thing for Luke Kennard.
And it's sort of what we talk about with like whatchamacallit, Jaren. Jaren is elite at so many things. I don't know if he's the guy you say, hey, he's just going to hold it down for you, which is the opposite with like a Hartenstein. I think Hartenstein goes in, you can trust him to just hold it down for you. Yeah. Nothing more, nothing less. Right? He's going to hold it down. I think maybe you hit the nail on the head with Claxton and why I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen Claxton go just hold it down for the Nets. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that brings me to the last thing I want to go on this because it's something we haven't talked about in a while, which is what do you feel about Drummond? Because he's making pennies this year, but he's crushed it, right? A lot of teams could use him. You think there's going to be a big market for him, or you think that's going to kind of go to the wayside and he'll still be pretty cheap for some team that wants him?
I think it'll be cheap. Listen, he's a guy that's coming off the bench in Chicago. That's just the truth. And so, I just don't. I know Vucci Main's there.
You're right, but I'm not positive he should be coming off the bench. I think they just sort of have Vooch, and they're like, well, we can't put him off the bench. So I'm not saying that he. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just also saying like I think it might be a little bit of politics at play there.
Yeah, for
more
sure.
than it is actual play.
Yeah, and listen, and he's more up my alley than probably even Hartenstein if the cost on Hartenstein is too high. Like right now, I believe Andre Drummond's making, is it $4 million? I believe that might be. I'm
thought it was
not
3.
sure.
I thought it was less.
Okay, it might be less. My thought was if you can get Drummond for $6 million a year, like that's what I want. Whether it's Hartenstein, whether it's Drummond, $6 million a year to be your starting center would be ideal, right? Because you can then move off of Zaire, Sport Track. Yeah, well, yeah. So I would be able to move then off of a contract like a Zaire potentially, right? And you better get that. And so, listen, I'm down $3.3 million from Allen. His internet works a lot faster than yours, but I will say that I'm a big fan on giving me somebody that can be a screener. Because I don't even care about the rim running. I really don't care about the rim running. Not with this team for the simple fact that I want them to screen and get out of the way. And then if you can rescreen and then roll, I'm fine with that. But the first screen, I kind of want you to just get out of the way and let Ja go. Because at that point, if Ja gets past and you're holding that screen, then he can either go to the front of the rim or there could be a a weak side cut or somebody in the dunker spot or just a kick out to one of our shooters. That's what I want. And that's kind of what Steve-O did, is he wasn't a guy who kind of rolled and went straight to the post.
Yeah, and shout out to Goon just for the commitment to the bit. I'm not at all saying he doesn't mean what he's saying. I just appreciate the relentlessness of it and just never stops. Just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. So that's why we love Goon. And even if we don't always agree, always glad to have him in here. I was about to say, I think I have some people that will text me. I'm not a big Twitter guy. Sorry, X guy. But I'll have some people that will text me. And I think they believe we need Giannis Antetokounmpo to come play center for us. I think that's what they think we need. Do you think that would be a good fit for the Memphis Grizzlies? I'm sorry. There's things like we have to have a top 5 center. I'm like,
Giannis isn't even a center, right?
I know, but that's like I'm trying to think. I couldn't think of off the top of my head, and I didn't want to say Jokic because he's not a rim runner. So I was trying to think of somebody who could catch lobs, because it also has to be a top 5 center who catches lobs. Is something I get a lot of. So
yeah, question from Ethan Porter here. So obviously talking about people want that 15 to 20 points per game center, and that is the dumbest thinking. I agree. The $5 million player, somebody can fit in that role and be just a hard worker. He's thinking even Jalen Smith or Nick Richards out of Charlotte, who has been playing very well, and even Hartenstein. But he's got a question of the 3 Orlando centers. Do any of them, Mo Wagner, Goga Batazzi, I think that's his name, and then Wendell Carter Jr. I don't think we're getting Wendell Carter Jr. And I like him. I just think he's going to cost too much money.
I tend to agree on that. Out of those, the one that intrigues me the most is Batazzi. Honestly, I don't know that would actually work, but he intrigues me the most out of those just because, again, of fit. But to be honest, no, I don't really love any of those 3 guys for the most part, just because it's either fit or money. I don't think it fits really well. I've always liked Jalen Smith a lot, but it's the same thing. Like, I want a guy that will come in and just hold down the paint. That's it. When I think that, I don't think Jalen Smith. I don't think Mo Wagner. I don't really even think Wendell Carter. It's like I don't think any of those guys out of those that you mentioned. I know Richards has had a good season with Charlotte, but I mean, sort of as good of a season as you can have with Charlotte. But out of those, Hartenstein's the one. Hartenstein, you and me have been talking about since pretty well before the trade deadline as a guy that we like. I think we both agreed it wouldn't happen this year. It was not going to happen at the trade deadline. But I think if you're looking at centers the Grizzlies are going to go after in the offseason, I'm looking at Claxton, Hartenstein, and Drummond. Those are the 3. Or if the Knicks decide they're not doing Mitchell Robinson, maybe Mitchell Robinson. But we always end up on this.
I know.
It's all we have left to hold on to.
Yeah. All right. So we do have some good questions coming in here. I want to get to these. Thank you, Ethan, on that one. Make sure, I would imagine you're our person on Facebook, which I don't even have a Facebook account really anymore. And so, but thank you for hanging out on Facebook. If you're there, I would imagine you're the person that hit the like button over there. But if you haven't hit the like button here at the YouTube or on Twitter, do me a favor. We're going to get to these questions real quick. I want to get to kind of put a bow on the actual center of it all. The one nice. Guy. Well, give me one guy that you want that isn't crazy expensive. I don't need a $20 million guy, $15 million or less if you're thinking of a guy. My guy. Impossible to get, I believe. But if there's a way to get him, Jalen Duren fits this team better than the glove that OJ got acquitted on. Like, it is the perfect fit. And I think that Jalen Duren is the dude that would make this team what they are. He is a dominant rebounder. He's a dominant screener. And he's a guy who doesn't need the ball. He wants to do the dirty work. And he's our boy. He's from Memphis.
Yet another reason to hate the freaking Lakers.
God. That pisses me off.
What's the money range? What are we saying?
I'd say less than 15 because you don't want to go, I'd say 12 is kind of the mid-level, where we're going to have that exception. Trade exception.
Well, my guy's always been, but he's going to make, he makes too much. I thought he was at 20. Jared Allen. My guy's always been Jared Allen, but that fits,
yeah.
That's the thing. I think he fits the conversation, but he is making $20 million a year, and I think he's expiring, right?
I don't know about him, honestly.
I can't remember if he was expiring or not, but Jared Allen, I thought has always been a great fit with this team. Out of the guys that are gettable, Duran is obviously like top of the list, right? But that's just I can't imagine a world where that happens. It's just I can't even fathom it. Honestly, like Hartenstein really fits as far as guys who I think are truly gettable. I think Hartenstein, if we're going to kind of reach just a little bit, Jared Allen being out of the picture because he's above the price range, maybe a Capella. Maybe a Capella. I think Capella does fit. Like Capella, I think since he's not been playing with Harden, people imagine he has a drop off. Dude still rebounds really well, still defends the paint really well. If you're looking at problems, the problem is he could get played off the court. In the playoffs. But quite frankly, I think you have the team that you can let your center get played off the court. I think you're going to be okay. So I do like okay, 2 more seasons at 20. Okay. I couldn't remember if he was expiring or not. But I do think Capella still can do that role for you, like hold it down. And it's the same thing. Maybe he's had a bit of a drop off, but Capella should be off the books after that, right? Next was last under contract.
I don't remember. Listen, ever since the trade deadline, I forgot everybody's contract that I was looking at.
Well, exactly. That's where I'm at too. Okay, yeah, he's 22. After that, he's off, and you can sign him for less.
So the thing is, the Grizzlies have to get somebody who wants to take a pay cut, or somebody who really just wants to come here and give a discount because they want to play with a really good team. Maybe a one-year deal. The Grizzlies have the opportunity because they have a center spot open and saying, hey, listen, if you don't get the deal that you want, we can offer you that trade exception, $12 million trade exception, if you want to take $12 million and play for 1 year, and then possibly sign a backup center if you want to. If not, you can roll with the guys you got and figure it out throughout the middle of the season, maybe closer to the trade deadline, if you want to make some moves with Luke or somebody else. The thing is, they have to figure out, can we get somebody for the cheap that we feel comfortable with, or can somebody give us a discount depending on their situation, whatever that might be.
What about Joel Embiid?
I think he's good. All right,
that's sort of the talk I've been getting. I'm looking at one more. I don't think he's gettable, but I actually like Zubac.
Zubac is fine. I don't think he's gettable.
Agreed. Just fine, but I think he's gettable. Let me tell you the one thing that I don't want to see in our chat anymore, ever again. Just quit saying DeAndre Ayton. No, I don't want DeAndre Ayton. I don't want it. I don't want it. Thank you.
He makes
nobody said it tonight, by the way. I'm just saying it before somebody can say it.
Yeah. All right, let's get to these because I see too much Hassan Whiteside on the actual live chat. So I'm gonna go back to the ones I started. All right, real quick. Dennis Schroeder always kills us. Should we just sign him next year as our backup point guard so we don't have to get just shredded by Schroeder?
No. God, no.
You don't like him?
Hell no, dude. Plus, once he starts playing for the Grizzlies, he'll actually call the fouls when he's hand checking you all the way down the court. Like he hadn't played for the Grizzlies yet, so he doesn't get called for it. But I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen someone hand check the entire length of the floor and not get called the way that happens. So I guess he plays hard defense.
I like him. Big fan of him. Playboy Dan wants to know, when do you think that we will see Tariq? I think it's Tariq. Tark Babirovic. I think it's Babirovic.
I don't know.
Have you seen the Crave? I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen the highlights and stuff. It could be next year. Let me tell you, he's built like a grown ass man. Like I don't know how old he is, but he doesn't look like a kid. You know what I mean? So, maybe he comes in next year and he's shooting that well and playing that well. That'd be awesome. I'm just not going to pretend I haven't seen anything outside of the highlights, but he looks great.
23.
He's putting up really good numbers, especially from 3. If that translates, I thought he looked good in Summer League. So,
yeah, he's 6'7", 218, 23 years old. And listen, I'm not no hate on Turkey. I know nothing about Turkey basketball, whether or not it's good, if it's a high level, it's a low level. I don't know. Some of the, you can score 20 whatever points you want there, and it means nothing to me because I don't know the actual level. And so I'm going to let somebody smarter speak on that. But what I will say is 1,000% he will be playing on the summer league team. 1,000%.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're talking about you're bringing him into training camp. What can you do? Can you be a guy who can be a spot up shooter? Can you be a guy who can two dribble drive, quick pull up? Can you be that guy that really this team really needs? Austin Moore says Turkey is good. So listen, that's awesome. I'm not even going to begin to fake it and act like I know any about that.
Right.
I've seen his game. It translates. It looks like an NBA player. But what I will say is, and this is no knock to Yuta, no knock. But him going over there and playing like that, what's it doing? It's getting people to notice you and bring you back to maybe the Grizzlies next year and give you a chance and give you a real contract. I really do think that Yuta should do that. I think Yuta has the game that would translate if he could maybe get his confidence up, go overseas, skip the $2 million. Somebody overseas would give you $2 million, I would assume, because you're not getting another contract after this $2 million by riding the bench. Go overseas, go ahead and opt out and get you maybe $4 million overseas. I think it'd be smart for him to do that. But this is a number one reason why being a European overseas player can actually benefit you so much, is because stuff like this might land a real contract because of how well he's playing over there. Whatever reason, whatever route he took, this might actually be the best thing for him.
Yeah, and I believe he's also playing with Marco Guduric. So, just saying. Pause. Got Charlie Vines. For anyone that's just listening, tuning in on audio, shout out to you guys tuning into us after the night of, especially with games like tonight. But we got Charlie Vines in the chat saying Turkey is good, but I'm more of a stuffing guy myself. Pause.
Listen, that is an A+ comment. I don't like stuffing. My wife does. They're Northern. I hate stuffing. I'm a big dressing guy. Give me some of that gravy. All right, let's get to the last few. So I know Playboy Dan had a lot about Tariq Babirovic. King Meeks wants to know, or has a statement: whoever drafted Zaire needs to be fired or gone.
Oh yeah, I saved that from earlier. Like the hate King keeps bringing for Zaire. It's almost the same thing. It's not quite with the enthusiasm level of a goon, but I swear, King comes in here every game and offers up a wrestling match. Loser leaves town for Zaire Williams. Even after Zaire dropped 27, King was like, I'm thinking about postponing the wrestling match, but I'm not sure yet. So it's like, I appreciate that as well. To be clear, so we don't actually, I don't want to even get in that tonight. I was going to get into some front office stuff. No, I don't want to.
No, let's skip it. Last thing, and this is front office stuff. Who do you think you draft for the top pick? I know you don't know anything or follow the draft very closely.
Don't say Sar because everybody tells me so.
Everybody says Sar. I'm fine with Sar. He would probably be the only player I'd draft in the top 10. That's just me. If I'm in the top 10, get me out of it. Like, I don't think it's worth it. If you can somehow get me out of the top 10 and get me to like 15-ish, I feel like I can grab somebody that's probably a little bit more proven. Dalton Connect's been good. I like Dalton Connect just because he is a shooter and he is bigger. I like, a guy who's obviously bigger and a shooter that helps with this team. But man, I don't need any of these guys. And I'm a Duke guy, and Kyle Filipowski does not translate to me at all. I just think he's too soft. I think he has a great shot. I think he does some things well. I just don't think Flip is the guy for this team. There's nobody that is in the draft, and I've said this before, that is a starter for the Memphis Grizzlies next year. So if you are drafting the top 10, just know you're drafting a bench player. And that's just, it is what it is. But if it's me, just like Black Ninja DJ said, there's going to be some guys that are some gems and some rotation players. I don't want that to be a top 10 pick. Move me down. Give me some benefit. Move me down.
Yeah, if you can. Like, if you can
listen, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, let's be really clear. Like, if you can get something on it, then like great. But there's also the chance that everybody else, like, man, F that pick. I'm not giving you anything for that. Like, what are you talking about? It's the same thing. It was like trying to trade off a couple of guys. One of them that
No.
D'Angelo wants me to cook because it's like, but sometimes you just can't do it.
But every front office has a guy they love, right? Even the Grizzlies will have a guy they love. Whether or not,
are you willing to give up something that's going to be a true contributing piece for the
That's
Grizzlies for it? I doubt it.
but not everybody's not everybody's in the same part that the Grizzlies are in. Let's say it is, just for example, Detroit. And they're saying, hey, we really like this guy. He's very raw. Not going to be good for the next 2 years, but I'm willing to go ahead and grab this
Like
guy
Zion Williams.
if give a little bit. Oh, God.
Sorry. It fit perfectly. I was just sitting there and I was like, that is exactly what happened. So you know what? Maybe you're right. maybe you're right on. But I mean, same thing. Like, you could just draft for fit if you're a top 10 pick and you can't make a move. I mean, there might be a move. Chances are there probably is, like you said, a front office is willing to make that move. But if it's not, then like don't trade down just to trade down, right? To get something, right? To get seconds or something like that. I mean, we'll see. But
hey, let's have a hot route real quick. A little audible. I say we skip the team preview for next game.
Yeah,
T-Wolves game.
No, let's just show up blinded and assume things will go well.
I say we skip it. Listen, they have size. We're gonna get smoked by that.
No,
there's some good questions coming in. I want to keep hitting on these. I'd say we hit the next 5 minutes or so. Good questions that were coming in because they're rolling in. I don't want to skip that and go to a dead segment of and taking the commercial. So hey, let's skip commercial. Let's go ahead and keep going with this. We're just going to do a little audible, but you know what you should not audible from is eating healthy. Heaven's Healthy Kitchen is a grassroots business that was started right here in Memphis, and Chef Smith in the comments each and every show. He's a Memphian that promotes healthy eating and wellness. As you know, and I know, that little pooch around the belly, boy, it gets you. It gets you. I'm about to be 40, ladies and gentlemen, and it will get you. So if you want to cook at home a little bit healthier, go get Chef Smith's cookbook right off of Amazon. You can download it today. You can go get it over on orderhhk.com. If whatever reason, just reach out to him, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it might be, even Facebook, reach out to Heaven's Healthy Kitchen. But Heaven's Healthy Kitchen continues to do pop-ups. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm not exactly sure just yet. I'll have to get with Heaven's Healthy Kitchen on that, but there is one coming up soon. But go ahead and check them out today. Orderhhk.com. Serving and catering, plant-based and vegan gourmet foods straight to you. All right. Good transition.
Great transition. I'm very proud of you. That was good. Can I bring up the first question?
Let's go. Why don't you steer the ship?
Okay. No, I just want to do this one.
Okay.
No.
Really?
That's all I got. The answer is no.
All right. Hold on. All right. So because you're not the professional that I am, you have to read this because some people are listening on the audio. Brock Belcher wants to know, good guy, good friend of ours, I would assume. Would you draft Bronny first round if it's guaranteed 2 years of LeBron on the same roster, all healthy? Because listen, LeBron has said,
dude,
if you draft Bronny, I'm going to come to your team.
No.
Why not? Why not?
Well, first off, don't want to draft Bronny. There's reason number one. Reason number two, it's not possible to bring LeBron money on and still have the rest of the roster.
No, hold on.
No, you can't do it. Did you see the contract he's looking at signing today? Massive.
He wants to follow his son.
Okay.
Why does he care about money?
Let's pretend that doesn't even matter. Let's pretend the money's not a thing.
Okay.
Which is a dumb assumption. But let's assume. Number three, dude, like, do you really want to get – this is Memphis, Tennessee. He has been strong-arming the Los Angeles Lakers for the past X amount of years. Do you really want to deal with that if you're the Memphis Grizzlies? No. It can gash your franchise. There's no guarantee you win a championship with LeBron. I mean, he continues to get older, and he's still unbelievable. In year, what is this? 19? Year 20? Yeah. It's unbelievable what he's doing. He's playing with Anthony Davis right now. There's no guarantee you win a championship if you bring LeBron here. There's a high chance it gashes your roster. There's a high chance he also strong arms the franchise.
See, I don't see that though. I don't see it that way.
I think you're wrong. There's no way. It's Memphis, Tennessee. He's been strong arming the Los Angeles Lakers.
I agree. All right, dude. So I think it's a little different. And Goon is saying, so basically, I'm going to be rebounding my team around a 39-year-old. I don't agree with that. And let me just be honest with you. I don't love LeBron. And so why I'm arguing for him right now just disgusts me. But I will say is the only way you do it is if you get an agreement from LeBron that he's going to come here and he's not going to be a lot of money. That's the only way. If it is $30+ million a year, you can't do it. Would you do it for $12 million a year for LeBron?
No, I don't want him on this team. It doesn't even make sense with the guys that you have here. LeBron needs to run the ship. You have the guy that runs the ship on your team already in Ja Morant. You really want Ja Morant becoming an off-ball guy?
He wouldn't be.
Have we ever seen that work?
So I think,
and in that case, okay, does that mean LeBron and Ja don't play on the court at the same time together? That doesn't make sense either. Nothing about that makes sense. Also, just to be clear, you're not getting them at $12 million a year. that's just nonsense. I hate everything about it. And quite frankly, I'm pretty sure Brock does too. But he did what he was trying to do, which is get me all riled up about it.
Good job, Brock. Zach Edey, do you know who Zach Edey is?
Shout out to Allen. Hold on, before we move on. LeBron in the Jake LaRavia role would be interesting, to be fair. Yes, I agree. I agree. Sorry. Yes, I know who Zach Edey is. I'm well aware.
So Zach Edey is the big human from Purdue. Yes. He's a bowler maker. He's actually been a lot better this year, and I would assume at this point he is playing himself into the player of the year conversation. I think he's probably the leading candidate in the player of the year in college. If you can trade down and get him, depending on what you can get, depending on what you can get back, I'm okay with that. But you'd have to trade down in the 20s, and you got to maybe potentially get somebody or something that makes you better. I don't want to trade down and get nothing. It's all about what I would get to be able to trade down and get it. Because at the end of the day, as King Meek said, he is, Bud Bundy, just all.
I was say Luka Garza was also the player of the year right before he got drafted. So I'm not moved by Zach Edey. If you want to take him at the end of the draft as kind of like a sure, why not? But I mean, I am not a college basketball watcher. I don't claim to be a college basketball watcher. I don't claim to be a prospect expert. The little I have watched of Zach Edey, I don't see it translating super well because he's just big for the most part. He has improved on efficiency. He has improved as a free throw shooter. He's improved a lot, but there's a lot of guys that are big in the NBA, and so you got to have the skill to match, in my opinion. So,
Zach Edey, White Hasheem to beat is very funny. So shout out to you on that one. Listen, I agree. I think that he would be fine, but he's going to be a backup no matter what. He's not going to be your starting center. I don't care where you draft him. He's not going to be a starting center. So I would assume that we're going to pass on Zach Edey. But you know what? He's intriguing. I'm not against it.
This gave me the idea that I like the most. Not the tank. I don't want to tank next season. I'm good on that. I don't like tanking this season. That sucks. But maybe what you do is you convince one of these terrible teams to trade you their next year's first round pick to give them this year's first round pick, maybe another first round pick, and you take on like a Killian Hayes, if that was still a thing. And that way, one of these teams is just desperate to do anything to make some noise, gives you their first round pick, sucks again, and you get Cooper Flag. Maybe that's a strategy. Listen, that is one you're talking about front offices loving their guys. That kind of crap has happened a lot in the NBA. A lot. A la, let's throw it to another league, a la the Charlotte Panthers. Carolina Panthers, sorry, not Charlotte.
Charlotte.
The Carolina Panthers. So,
No. I don't see that at all.
An idiot would do that.
Yeah. No, listen, people are idiots. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So listen, we've hit on so many of these. I think it's been fun.
What a conversation.
We are having a great time. I wish that we could get a Cooper Flag type guy on this team, but I don't know. We're not going to have that potential, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that. But I do think that this team has very limited holes, very limited, and I think that's really what it comes down to is the direction for next season is. I think we all know that it needs to be getting a big, right? A starting big next to Jaren. And then at that point, you kind of round out the bench unit. I think you can move on from one of these young guys, and I think you can make some hay on that. We're going to definitely have on some draft experts. Maybe we bring on we'll bring on Rafael Barlow towards the end of the season because we'll kind of know where we are. If you have another guy, listen, I am through and through a Rafael Barlow truther. I believe in his vision. I believe in his eyes and what he sees. He was big on Gigi Jackson. But if you have somebody else that I maybe not aware of, go ahead and send them my way because I'd love to discuss them. I'm even wanting to have on. God, what is this guy's name? He does the boxing one, I believe. I spoke with him in the past, and so. He's a guy that I like to discuss some draft stuff. And so if you're interested in draft stuff, we always kind of want to know exactly who these guys are because we don't know enough about them. And I'm not a draft expert. Ryan does a good job of that. And so he does a fair amount
what his
of
thoughts on Jake LaRavia were.
Oh my God. But the other thing is me and Nate are not going. Adam Spinella. He is great. Adam Spinella. Thank you for that, Ethan. But me and Nate are not going to be doing any weekend shows in March. 100%. I know that is our plan. There are 2 weekends in April. I believe one of those is the Marc Gasol. I think the jersey retirement. We'll definitely do for something for that. The problem with that, Nate, I don't know how we're going to, because Marc Gasol is getting his jersey retired after the game. We're going to try to figure out what's going on with that. I don't know how that's possible, but what I will say is the last game of the season is going to be Denver. So we will make sure we are here for that one. But in the meantime, I am trying my hardest to bring in some guest hosts. I'm talking about 2 people that can come in here and actually run the show with you all. I may or may not be in the comments, Nate as well. We'll try to help out. But listen, I am very, very busy on the weekends right now with life, just in general with kids. I'm coaching, but also I'm having to be a father as well and going to the other games. And so it is very busy for me. And so we're trying to make sure we are honest about it. But we're going to do our best to possibly bring on some people. I do know that every Friday at 3:00, it is the $2 Sports Show. They do great. They will be hosting some shows. So shout out to those 2 guys. Right now, Drew's wife, they're expecting to have a child probably this week. And so we don't know what that looks like, when he can get away, but stay tuned for that. If there's anybody within you maybe BCN that you'd like to see.
Sorry, that was classic. Sorry, for anyone that's on audio again, King Meeks got here in the chat saying, get Kenny then if he ain't filming Clerks 3 and Jay and Silent Bob movies, which is just perfect. That's awesome. Shout out, brother Kenneth.
Oh, Kenny, he's good. But yeah, so just kind of stay tuned. We'll try to, we haven't done a lot of the weekend shows as of late just to kind of give us a break. But we're going to do our best to bring in somebody because I think it is fun. We're wrapping up the season.
Yeah.
And looking in the distance, we have literally about a month and a half left. And so not many games. So there might be some games if nobody is scheduled and the Grizzlies win. Nate and I might actually talk and see if we can hop on one randomly, but just stay tuned. But that's all I have. Just make sure you tune in. John Roser will be with us on Wednesday night after the Minnesota Timberwolves game. So bring in any questions for him that you might. We want to make sure we welcome him in, but we want to have a lot of fun because these guests, I'm telling you, I have had more praise this season than I've ever had. But the main reason is it's always the comment section because I've never had anybody tell me after they were gone and say that was no fun or whatever, or just not tell me anything. They always just write me back, message me and say, dude, your comment section is so much fun. And it's because of y'all asking so many questions and you're so interactive. And so it's a good time. So I'm telling you, you guys are the best. And so make sure you tune for that. I forgot about this.
We're going to bring that. I was about to say that question will resurface on Wednesday.
All right. So somebody has to ask the question because if y'all are asking over here, somebody has to ask the question, should we draft Bronny to get LeBron for next year? I want to hear what he says. Questions like that are all great. And so we're going to have a good time on that. Nate, final thoughts, anything else?
It's time for bed.
It is time
It's
for bed.
bedtime.
My kids are actually in my bed right now. Anytime I'm gone, whatever it is, they start in my bed with my wife. And so my wife texts me like, please get these kids out. They just woke her up.
No, it's fun. Seriously, shout out to the comments. It's the reason we still make it for all these games. Like, it's the only thing that keeps us going, to be completely honest. And Blaine, we'll make sure that somebody is here that you guys can help vent with. And we'll probably hop in with you. We'll just take give the old vocal cords a bit of a break. Pause.
For sure. Wow. All right. That's all we got. The show always the best. You guys are always the best. Thank you for watching, listening, hanging out with us. It's been a fun time. Thank you for kind of dealing with me. Listen, I hit the game winner tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Double overtime, sudden death, game winner. Shout out to the great White Hope and myself. But so
Let's go.
That's it. We're out of here. We'll see you Wednesday night. Be nice and tell your friends.